I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for Investmentpitch Media and FinTech News Network. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Manuel Rensink, the Strategy Director of Securrency. Manuel, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Yeah, my pleasure, Ashton. Very good to be here.
I'd love for you to start out by giving a little bit on your background in the capital markets and financial industry and how that led to you focusing on Securrency.
Yeah, okay. So although I'm a Dutch national, I first started working in capital markets, I think in 1997. At the time, it was called Chase Manhattan Bank in the Mergers and Acquisitions department. I then went for a short stint to Deutsche Bank and very quickly joined a fintech, although we didn't call it fintech, I suppose, at the time, but a financial technology startup, a spin-off out of JP Morgan called Riskmetrics. And I stayed there for 12, 13 years as head of EMEA in London and later as head of Middle East and North Africa for MSCI. MSCI by the time had bought Riskmetrics. After that, I did some consulting, and in 2017, I worked for almost a year for a Swiss crypto exchange called Licky, which was a great experience and a good introduction into digital assets. And then about I think 1 year and 8 months ago, I joined Securrency in Abu Dhabi.
Very cool. And yeah, you guys really have something special going on right now. And it seems like you're growing the platform at a time when the nature of financial services is being disrupted completely. So can you talk a little bit about, what is the model for Securrency and how exactly are you disrupting the financial industry?
Yeah, sure. So I think blockchain has done a lot of the disruption for us, of course. So blockchain is just this amazing technology that allows for very efficient transfer of value, globally. It's I believe the first time that you can really create a unique digital asset that cannot be copied and pasted. So it's really a unique, fantastic technology, we are really building on that. So we are a blockchain company, and in particular, we're a digital asset company. And really, we are both a RegTech and a FinTech company. So on the RegTech side, you should probably know that our CEO and founder, Dan Dhoni, has a career in digital innovation and digital transformation, digital identity and digital assets at the NSA and other places. The rest of the founding team also has a background in government, legal, and in military. So it's no surprise that RegTech and compliance is, a key theme for us. So the core solution we have there, our superpower, I would say, is the policy engine. It's a policy engine that allows for multi-jurisdictional compliance. So both for new offerings of digital assets, as well as secondary trading of digital assets. This means that digital assets can be offered in multiple jurisdictions, as well as traded in a fairly decentralized manner, while remaining compliant with the relevant regulatory regimes. And these jurisdictions can be the jurisdiction of the offerer, jurisdiction of the broker, the jurisdiction of the offering itself, and of course, of any venue where the token is traded. So compliance is very important, and we believe that combining digital identity with policy enforcement as well as privacy protections lead to an honest blockchain. On the fintech side, we have a huge software library of capabilities that allow for capital formation, corporate actions, and value transfer, both across blockchains, from one blockchain to another, as well as from blockchains to legacy ledgers, centralized databases. So interoperability is the other key theme, so compliance and interoperability. So we're not selling another blockchain. We do not foresee or believe that any one blockchain will rule them all. Instead, we see many disparate networks and databases that will talk to each other and interoperate along a set of standards. So, much like today's Internet of Data. And so we're attacking this interoperability piece. I think it's a space that is not very crowded at all. Anybody can build an offering platform, but this interoperability piece is so complex, and we believe that we are leaders in this space. It's really our other superpower besides the policy engine.
Definitely. And with this policy engine, multi-jurisdictional seems like a very important piece of that because of the globalization through these digital assets becoming borderless. Can you talk a little bit about, what are the jurisdictions that are part of this multi-jurisdictional piece, and are you seeing interest from banks and financial institutions in certain parts of the world that are looking to innovate first?
Yeah, for sure. So jurisdiction-wise, we see it everywhere. But we as a company, we are doing right now projects between the US, the UAE, Singapore, Australia, as well as London. So these are the jurisdictions that we focus on. But of course, there's no limit. There's other jurisdictions that are also very progressive. A lot happening in Germany, in France. I think in Germany, about 40 banks now, mainstream banks apply to become crypto custodians. In France, we saw the large bank like SocGen doing the digital euro project with the central bank. The Netherlands, where I'm from originally, is also aiming to be at the forefront of digital securitization. So, we see it everywhere. It's hard to keep up, really. And it's not just banks. It's banks, but it's also asset managers and exchanges and fintechs that want to get into digital assets.
And you mentioned the U.S. there, but also some regions that are emerging and seem to be growing really rapidly. With this multi-jurisdictional policy, is it extra work to integrate the U.S. into a multi-jurisdictional policy? Because traditionally, the U.S. has had to have different rules and regulations for token sales and for cryptocurrency exchanges, and they seem to be taking a different path than others. So is that fitting into this global policy that you're working on?
Yeah, that's complex. That's not an easy task, as you say. So we thought it would be easier. So we wrote, I think, the tokenization platform in a couple of months, and we thought that the policy engine, would take us, maybe a year. It's now 5 years down the line, and we're still building on it. So, so what we have built now is this policy engine that allows you to configure these local rule books. So you can configure, without using code. A lawyer, typically a lawyer will be doing this work. So they're not coders, they're not smart contract experts. But by dragging and dropping and drill down boxes, they can configure the rules for their jurisdiction, and then the engine combines it all and updates the compliant aware tokens with this information. So the token knows exactly what it can do when it's being offered, and it knows exactly post issuance from what wallet to what wallet it can travel and when. And under which conditions, So we built the compliance into the token.
And you're in Abu Dhabi right now, and you're very familiar with the regulatory environment in the Middle East. Could you give a comparison for those that are in the Americas on what is the innovation looking like there in terms of fintech, innovation into the traditional banking system?
Yeah, so here, very interestingly, we have, and that's a bit different from the US. We have an approach of sandboxes. So that's modeled on the original FCA sandbox in the UK. So this is happening both in the UAE and Saudi Arabia and in Bahrain. And so in the UAE, for instance, these efforts are taking place within the context of their legally offshore international financial centers. So it's almost like a sandbox within a sandbox, or two levels that allow for easy innovation. So these international financial centers, like the Dubai International Financial Center and the Abu Dhabi Global Market, have their own laws, and they are modeled on English law. And many of their regulators come from the FCA in particular, and this really allows them to be more nimble and innovative. Now, ADGM, where we are registered in particular, has been very innovative, and they have even launched the first, I believe, the first crypto-specific guidelines and regulations for exchanges and brokers and custodians and fintechs. So, we are based here in ADGM, and we're in good company with, companies that others will know, like Kraken and Coin and also TransferWise. And I guess wider, more generally, I think also on a government leadership side, there's been a lot of support for blockchain, more, blockchain, not so much digital assets, with leadership pushing ministries to adopt blockchains in their digitalization efforts and their effort to make government paperless, for instance.
Yeah, well, it's good to be in good company. And speaking of good company, speaking of good company, you recently, at the beginning of this year, closed the $18 million Series A round. So congratulations to that. And that was led by WisdomTree Investments and some other good partners. Can you talk about the synergies that you have with those partners that have invested, and what is the goal now that that investment round is closed?
Yeah, that's right. So WisdomTree is one. The other one was the Abu Dhabi Investment Office, which is a Abu Dhabi sovereign wealth fund, and they fund deep tech companies to establish themselves in Abu Dhabi, and they help us. They're more of a silent investor, and they help us with their network in government and financial institutions. WisdomTree is very strategic. So their CEO, Jono Steinberg, is really a visionary. He believes, they are known for their ETF business. They've been an innovator in ETFs, and he is now he's a big believer in digital assets. So he, I think, chose to invest in us because he realizes that compliance is everything, really. So we're working with them on digitalizing a number of funds, ETFs, and also other fund types, and. What can I say? They've been not only an investor, but also an amazing client. And through them, we are building pipes into their ecosystem. So this includes their custodian, their transfer agent, and of course, exchange venues. In terms of what comes next, after Series A comes Series B. I'm already very busy with preparing that as we speak.
Yeah, it never stops, eh? So what would you say is going to be one of the main key factors of success in integrating compliance smoothly, and it's a smooth transition from the legacy financial system into, a blockchain-based one?
So, when it comes to digital assets, how are we going to make that a success? How are we going to get, mainstream adoption? I think the main features are really to set up a system that allows for, at a minimum, the same or even higher compliance standards. And blockchain actually allows for higher compliance standards because of the transparency of a blockchain. So as long as you, combine that with privacy features, you can get higher compliance standards. And of course, and I think this is where a lot of ICO companies made a mistake. You need to be able to plug this new technology into the existing system. Make sure it's not isolated, and make sure you don't duplicate costs for clients, and so that you can then efficiently, transfer value from any ledger to another, whether it's a distributed ledger or a blockchain ledger or a centralized ledger.
Yeah, I agree.
So again, it's compliance and interoperability.
Yeah, very nice. Well, we're running out of time, Manuel. Thank you so much for taking the time to do the interview. If there are viewers that are interested in learning more about Securrency, what's the best way for them to learn more information?
Yeah, sure. So our website is securrency.com. We have a newsletter that you can subscribe to. We're, of course, on Twitter, LinkedIn. My email is manuel.rensink@securrency.com. Happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Manuel. I appreciate it. All the best with Securrency, and let's follow up in the near future.
Thanks a lot, Ashton. Take care.